Spendthrift Farm Stallions. First 2-year-olds on the track by Golden Sense, Cross Traffic, It's My Lucky Day, Can the Man, and Shaking It Up, including Golden Sense's stakes winner Pickett, a dominant 9-length winner in the $75,000 DS Shine Young Futurity at Evangeline. Spendthrift, the Breeders' Farm.
Hi everybody, I'm Dan Illman along with Nicole Russo. Welcome to Spa Babies, presented by Spendthrift, the home of freshman sire Shaking It Up, who was represented by his first stakes winner last week. Let's take a look at the field for Friday's Spa Baby race. It's the $100,000 Skidmore Stakes, going 5.5 furlongs on the turf, carded as race number 9. Wesley Ward scratched 2 of his 3 entrants in Friday's Skidmore to run in Wednesday's stakes race that we have covered on DRF.com. Chelsea Cloisters, the 4 is out. Stillwater Cove, the 10 is out. He's still represented with the number 2, Shang. Nicole, we're going to talk about this field in post-position order, beginning with the number 1, Yes and Yes. One of 2 winners by trainer Phil Greaves at Belmont. And Yes and Yes, as we take a look at his replay, was very professional. He broke well, settled in the pocket. He's angling out from 3rd right now, and he professionally runs down these leaders at a gigantic price.
Yeah, definitely. We always talk about experience counting, and I'm expecting this one to kind of move forward even off that professional effort with Rajiv Murrah aboard by Sydney's Candy, who really did a little bit of everything during his own career. So I think this turf sprint does fit him, even though that he's got a little bit more long-windedness in the female side of his family.
He is a half-brother to the Saratoga Stakes winning turf router. Miami can't be 2 of these common foes in that race you just saw at Belmont. Lots of turf in the pedigree. We'll see what kind of trip he works from the inside post. Again, he has a bit of an underrated break. He's pretty quick out of the gate. Not as quick as the number 2, Shang. A perfect 2 for 2. She'll be taking on the boys again, but that proved no problem at all for her in the Group 2 Norfolk Stakes at Royal Ascot. Here she is in the yellow silks on the lead. She's been there throughout, and she is doggedly determined in the lane.
Yeah, such a game effort against such a big field over there after traveling to Royal Ascot, which of course Wesley Ward does it every year, but it's such a difficult task for these young horses, and he's really good at knowing the ones that are set for the trip over there. I think she's going to be able to work out a great trip from her 2 posts here down inside. And, we've talked a lot about this season, young sire Shanghai Bobby really starting to come alive internationally.
And that race at Royal Ascot has come back live. 2 next out stakes winners finished behind Shang back on June the 21st. She's fast out of the gate. She'll be forward. She might have to deal early, though, with the number 3, Gins and Tins, also trained by Wesley Ward, who went gate to wire at Monmouth last time out. We'll take a look at that race. She was no surprise, bet down to even money, and she just blasted that field. Won a quarter in 21 and just kept right on going. It was a nice performance for Gins and Tins. Something tells me that Wesley's going to instruct Eric Cancel not to get involved with Shang early.
Yeah, you would think so, especially because Tins and Tins, it looks like has a little bit of long-windedness in his pedigree as well. Some Grade 1 performing turf routers in there. So you would think that with the experience, maybe wouldn't gone out of the gate as quickly this time, might be willing to be a little more tractable and sit off horses. This is, of course, the final crop of 2-year-olds for the late Scat Daddy, who's good on any surface, but especially good with his turf sprinters internationally.
And Scat Daddy, of course, having a tremendous year, not only with Kentucky Derby winner Justify, but on DRF's exclusive Beyer sire ratings. He is 4th overall in the number of horses with Beyer speed figures of 90 or greater. 22 individual runners, 90 or greater Beyers. Do you think this Colt Gelding, he's got a lot of early speed, but you look at the female family, lots of European distance influences. Do you think maybe this horse will stretch out down the road?
I definitely think so, yeah, and that's why I'm thinking that perhaps, they will try some different tactics and see if he'll be willing to sit just off the pace, off of Shang a little bit, as you mentioned.
Chelsea Cloisters, the 4, will run on Wednesday. She's out of the Skidmore. The 5 is Stay on the Grind, who is going to try turf for the first time for trainer Jimmy Ferraro. This is a son of Belmont Stakes winner Birdstone, who is not necessarily known for winning first turf. Only 5% first turf winners, as we see on the pedigree card. But the bottom of this pedigree, this is all turf. The dam of full sister to Blind Ambition, a multiple stakes winning turf sprinter who is stakes place sprinting on the turf this meet at Saratoga.
Yeah, definitely. The dam of Full, the Blind Ambition, and the second dam, also a stakes winner on the turf, sprinting on the turf. So that ability there gives you, a little bit of hope for stay on the ground, because at first glance, Birdstone over a Capit mare, yeah, that's more of a longer distance dirt pedigree, you almost think.
The number 6 is Chattel, never off the board for 4 lifetime starts. We saw this one get nabbed by Yes and Yes, and Yes and Yes's replay at Belmont on May the 25th. 2 starts after that, she came back on the turf. She was bet down to odds on at Laurel. She did not disappoint. We see her, after pressing the early pace, open up, and then during that long stretch run, finish professionally, solidly. It was a good effort. She's going to have to do better on Friday.
It's definitely a step up in class, but I think we've seen some nice horses come out of Laurel's 2-year-old program in recent years. It's a program and a circuit I'm keeping my eye on. Sire Giant Oak was another one who, I'm sort of looking at infos to do a little bit of everything. They haven't exactly lit the world on fire yet, but they just seem like athletes to me. And interesting to that Chattel, he was bred by the University of Kentucky's equine science program, breeding program, where students pull out the mares and raise the yearlings and sale prep the yearlings. They've had some graded winners and some nice horses in recent years. So just kind of an interesting note on Chattel. They'll have a big rooting section on Friday. And
maybe this colt will stretch out. Giant Oak really wanted to go a distance around. There are a lot of European influences on the bottom of this family. The number 7 is Good Good, Todd Pletcher, John Velasquez. This is a Calumet Farm homebred who won his debut on the dirt at Gulfstream, rallying from far off of the pace. It was a really solid effort. Interesting that Todd's going to try this one on turf. Quality Road, 10% with first turf runners. Lots of dirt influences in this family, and the August the 3rd workout came in company with Virginia Eloise, who was a rallying second in last week's Adirondack on the dirt, a graded stakes race. How do you think Good Good's going to handle the grass?
I do think Good Good will take to it. Good. Quality Road, we do know him a bit more for his dirt performers, the female family known more for the dirt performers, but Quality Road also has a lot of high quality turf runners as well, looking at Illman, Hootenanny, and I really think that that's just a function of, again, those horses being athletes like their sire was as well. His kind of speed and turn of foot has translated to the ability to accelerate quickly on the grass, to run the turns well on tight courses, and I do think that's why he does have turf runners when the opportunity presents itself.
Yes and Yes won first out for trainer Phil Gleaves to the tune of a 36-1 mutual. Not to be outdone, his stablemate, the number 8 Swamp Rat, who was 24-1 for his debut at Belmont on June the 17th. And I liked what he did in this race. He didn't break very well. He was last on the rail entering the turn. You see him in the white cap splitting horses right now into 4th. He's going to stay in the 2-path, professionally split these horses, and then go after the leader, Joyful Heart, a horse that came back to win his very next start. I think Swamp Rat has a lot of potential, and we see a bullet workout on the turf a week ago.
Definitely, and I was going to say, I think he beat a couple of next style winners in that race, has come back to work well on the turf, and I really do like this pedigree. By Hat Trick, who's one of the only sons of the great sire Sunday Silence that you can get to in North America. Three-mare sire Smart Strike, of course, one of the most versatile stallions, I think, in modern history. So definitely a turf-type pedigree.
This horse won at 6 furlongs. He's actually cutting back to 5.5. If you give him a little bit of a pace, I think he's going to be rallying late under Julien Leparoux. The 9 is Carter Cat, and Steve Asmussen's wanted to get this one on the turf a couple of times. It hasn't worked out. He's been washed off. The weather hasn't cooperated, but here's his chance. Carter Cat, a $155,000 March 2-year-old. He worked 2 furlongs in 21 and change. This dam placed twice on turf, but she's a half to Yates Black Cat, who is a stakes-winning turf rider, and these Tale of the Cat seemingly can do anything.
Yeah, definitely. And, they're definitely quick. He's had good sprinters. But I look at Yates Black Cat and other ones in the female family, and I wonder if Carter Cat might like to go longer. But as we said, trainer intent is so important in handicapping these 2-year-old races. And it's been very obvious that Steve Asmussen would like to get this one on turf.
Stillwater Cove, the 10, scratched to run on Wednesday. The 11 is Chase Greatness. This is a Maryland bred, a homebred for Sagamore Farm, and Horatio DePaz, who won an off-the-turf race with a nice Beyer speed figure at Churchill Downs 2 starts back track that was simply overmatched in the Sanford Stakes. The trip didn't help either. The old off slow wide against some pretty nice 2-year-olds. This is a very versatile pedigree. The More Than Readies, we know they handle turf very well. The Dam was very precocious. She was stakes place sprinting on turf, and she's thrown Chubby Star, a nice stakes place turf horse.
Yeah, definitely. You know, and you look at More Than Ready, and they love to sprint and they love turf, and I think you put the two together in a spot like this, and it's very interesting. And I do think Chase Greatness, you know, again, the intent was there to put him on turf when he won the off the turf race the way he did. You know, I can't fault them for taking a shot in the Sanford, you know, kind of draw a line through that one. And I think Chase Greatness might offer some nice value here.
If ever a horse is bred to be a turf sprinter, how about the 12, Sir Troubadour? This is a full brother to Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint winner Regally Ready, a $300,000 yearling who has acquitted himself quite well on dirt, winning 2 of 3 starts, including the prestigious Grade 3 Bashford Manor Stakes. This horse has a ton of turf pedigree, and he is very, very fast out of the gate. He might make Shang work extremely hard early.
He might, and he might be able to work the trip to, you know, kind of sit in that catbird seat on the outside of her and either pressure her from the outside, which can be intimidating for a young horse, even though I'll give Shang a little more credit than that coming out of those crowded fields at Royal Ascot. Or you can kind of sit and watch what they're going to do there down inside, because I do think there's quite a bit of speed to the inside. So I think Troubadour is really drawn well here. Another one where, you know, he ran so well on dirt early on when, you know, that's where just the opportunities are for young horses. That certainly they went ahead to the Bashford Manor. They were thinking about trying the Saratoga Special over the weekend. But, you know, definitely expected to see this one on turf at some point, and I certainly think he figures.
It's really a fun race at the Spa on Friday, the $100,000 Skidmore Stakes. Where are you headed?
You know, I do think Shang is a prohibitive favorite here against the boys, and for good reason. But as I mentioned, I do like where Sir Troubadour is drawn to kind of get a good trip there. And I'm also really interested in seeing Chase Greatness get on the turf here. You know, so Shang, again, a worthy favorite, a likely winner. But again, I'm going to watch the board a little bit and see if those two on the outside offer a bit of value. I
agree with you. Shang's the horse to beat and the most likely winner on paper. I guess she would be my pick. I am interested in seeing how the Phil Gleaves duo improve, if they do improve off their debut. The 1 Yes and Yes and the 8 Swamp Rat. Something tells me that Swamp Rat, the number 8, might offer a little bit of value and might be one to watch down the road. But Shang, the horse to beat in Friday's Spa Babies, the Skidmore Stakes, and our coverage is presented by Spendthrift Farm.